NFL Films? Y'all gonna put me on? From a personality standpoint, TJ is gonna talk. He's gonna tell you exactly how he feels. Wake up, Cam! Wake up, Cam! Wake up! TJ Ward! What's up, man? Welcome to Safety First Show. It's your boy TJ Ward, and I'm back for the best time of the season. And you know what that is. It's college football playoffs and the NFL playoffs in the week 17 coming up soon, next week, actually. And what a time to be alive. Last week, we had some big playoff games, and one upset in particular, if you wanted to call it an upset, but I had them picked favorite. Miami beat Ohio. Wait, they like to do this. The Ohio State University in the second round of the playoffs, and Ole Miss, with an upset I did not see coming, beat Georgia. And for two main factors why Miami beat Ohio State, straight physicality, man. Straight physicality. All night long, Miami was hitting on the defensive side of the ball. And yes, Ohio State, they did make some big plays, but overall, they couldn't match the physicality and they couldn't match the playmaking of the U. And to be more specific, Keontae Scott with the play of the game, pick six. That really changed the whole momentum of the game and put Miami on top for the long haul. And then you backdoor it with Ole Miss beat Georgia. Well, I feel like Georgia gave the game away. Georgia was a more physical team, at least early in that game. But, you know, my dog Trinidad Chambliss, man, he kept making big play after big play after big play to keep them in the game. They were down 21-12 at one point, came back in the second half, and then at the end of the day, won it in OT. And, you know, I really feel that Georgia was a better team. They were more physical on defense, but some of their physicality was used against them, man. They had some targeted penalties called, and it's just ruining the game, man. Let them boys go out there and hit and not get disqualified for being physical. Now, Ole Miss, they have two pretty potent weapons on offense. K'Wan Lacey, number 5, the running back, and Harrison Wallace, the receiver, number 2. They were both making big plays throughout the game and definitely was getting Chambliss out of his binds. Scrambling around, finding extra time, you know, using his legs to extend the play. That's what he was doing, man. That's what he was doing. And he willed his team to victory against Georgia. So let's look at this Ole Miss-Miami matchup. Ole Miss, they have explosive offense. They have an explosive quarterback. Miami, they have a physical defense. They have a boring offense, but it's physical and it's consistent, right? They have a very strong running game. They're strong up front, and they just impose their will on defenses by running the ball. They got number 4, Mark Fletcher Jr. Man, he's a load. He is a straight load, and he can tote that beam. And you know what I say? You win you win championships how? Running the ball and playing defense. Now, I'm not saying Miami's going to win it all because you still got my Ducks in this thing, right? My Ducks is still in it. But they do have the recipe, and they cooking right now. They are straight cooking. So I'm going to look at Ole Miss, right? And what they do well. The big plays they were getting against Georgia. The improblematic plays they were getting in Georgia. And Georgia kind of letting them back into the game when they had complete control of the game going into the second half. If you ask me, there's no way Georgia should have lost that game. And I don't think Miami does that. I don't think Miami loses control of this game. I think they come out and be a very physical team. I think Mario Cristobal, ex-coach of the Oregon Ducks, is going to have this team ready. You know, his energy, his motivation, his soldiers, man. I'm not going to lie. Miami, they out there playing like straight soldiers. They out there looking straight militant. No They are ain't no horse playing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no games being played out there, man. They got a safety. Jacoby Thomas, number 8. That boy don't want to do nothing but hit. I love the way he played. He coming downhill with an attitude. And there was an interview he did post-play or pre-playoffs where he talked about just imposing his will physically on the offense, man. And I loved it. I loved the interview, man. It was just like straight violence. He wants to make them sorry for catching the ball. He wants to see those receivers second guess catching the ball. And he did that, especially against Ohio State. It was one pass where they came downhill. The other safety, Zachariah Poyser, Tate it was, I believe, ran a slant, came down, fired him up. Later in the game, it was a curl on the inside. He wanted no parts of that curl route. You know why? Because them safeties was coming downhill, just laying the boomstick, man. They look like me and Stu out there, man. Like, you going to catch this ball, you going to pay for it. And they finish every tackle, man. They get both arms wrapped around the receivers, tight ends, running back, whoever it may be, and they lifting, they using them hips, and they driving those guys into the ground, man. And then they cornerbacks, they cover very well, right? I like Ethan O'Connor, number 24, man. He out there, he doing his thing, man. He's doing his thing. He looks like, you know, a straight corner, cover corner, or in that mode. And then the other corner, OJ Frederick, they doing a good job. They whole secondary, man, they playing very well right now. It's the peak of the season, and them boys are peaking. And they, let's not even mention that front, right? That front, they're terrorizing teams. They are terrorizing teams. 2 guys to be specific, Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor. They are the best, along with Oregon. That Oregon's tandem and this tandem are the best in college football. And you can argue with your mama about that. But R2, Mateo, and Tatum, and these two, Mesidor and Bain, straight get into the quarterback. And that's why these two defenses are deep in the playoff and have their teams deep in this playoff run, right? Miami's defense giving up 8.5 points in the playoffs, man. That's 1 touchdown and not even a field goal. That's a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. In college football, that's hard to do. And you seen Oregon last week. I'll get to them later with the shutout. So defense still reigns supreme, and physicality rules football. I keep saying it. I'm going to get a shirt made. Physicality rules football. And make no mistake about it, these two teams are the most physical teams in college football, all right? Ole Miss is a good team. Don't get me wrong. But defensively, I don't trust their defense. They can't stop the run. Georgia was pretty much having their way running the ball. Why did they stop running the ball, you ask? I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. But up front, if you cannot stop the run, you're going to lose the game. So like I said, man, I got Miami over Ole Miss. It's not going to be a big scoring game like the Ole Miss and Georgia game because Miami's not going to allow that. They're not going to allow that. They're going to keep it nice and neat. You know, they have their own offensive weapons. Jared, what was the receiver name? The young bull. What's his first name? Yeah, Tony. Malachi Tony. He's explosive now. He's not your every down, getting the ball every down or every third down, but he can make explosive plays if you allow him off of play action. And that's what Miami does. With Carson Beck and the running back Mark Fletcher already said they get that run going, and Tony's going to hit you over the top with the play action. So, man, I'm looking for a pretty good game, but overall, I got Miami by 2 scores, man. I think that Ohio State matchup is going to be tougher than them than the Ole Miss was. But Miami, man, they rolling right now. They got all the weapons in place to really bring this championship home. Now, they get this win in this game, and they on to the championship. So, yeah, I got Miami. I'll say 28. I'll give Ole Miss 14 points, right? 28-14, something like that, but Miami for the dub. And then my game of the week, a rematch of the game we had earlier in the season at home, and we owe these boys, man. Hey, Ducks, we owe these boys. Now, Indiana may be my second favorite team in the country, man. I just love their coach, and I got a lot of respect for what he does. And what's up? We good? Yeah. What's the coach name for Indiana? Give it to me when on go. Kirk Kenyetti. Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Coach Kirk Kenyetti in Indiana and what he's done and how he's brought that program from obscurity. And no one would think that Indiana would be anywhere near a national championship game, let alone college football playoffs, national championship, Big Ten champions, all that stuff, man. He's done a great job. They beat the brakes off of Alabama last week. Oh my God. Alabama, they gave up at halftime. Most teams going at halftime, you know what I'm saying? They regroup and they come out with some changes and they get better, or at least they start getting better or doing a better job. These boys went into halftime and said, you know what? The game is over. We can't do anything. Let's just give up. Let's pack it in now. Pack them up. They was packed up at halftime. You know why? Indiana was too physical. Now, would you ever think that we were saying Indiana football is more physical than Alabama football? No way, Jose. But it is. It is. And the culture there at Indiana right now is one of the best in the country. You cannot deny it. You cannot deny it. They have created a new culture in college football. They kind of remind me of New England Patriots. It's the same thing every week. They do not get outside their game plan. They do not get outside the strategy. They do not get outside the culture. We come in, we run the ball early, we get one-on-one matchups, we try to exploit those matchups on the back end. We run the ball throughout the first and third downs, making third down shorter, want to get to second and 6, third and 2, short third downs. And they do that week in and week out. They make third down easier. If I was a coach, that's exactly how I would coach. And their defense, they're stout up front. They have great disciplined linebackers, and their secondary is better than you think. Straight up. They can cover in their secondary, and they're not as violent as Miami is with their safeties, but the safeties can cover and their corners can cover, period. And that's the recipe that they're winning. And if you look, it's really everything is quite similar when you think about these winning teams, right? Indiana, Miami, Ole Miss, I wouldn't call it a fluke win, but the things Georgia did well, like vice versa from Indiana, they didn't stay consistent with it. They had something, a culture that works, physicality, running the ball, and they got away from that. And that's why they lost the game. They got into the shoving match with Ole Miss, and Ole Miss won at the end of the day. Let's go to my Ducks now. Now, we played Texas Tech last week, and coming out the beginning of that game, it was the physicality of both defenses, right? Texas Tech came out. It scared me a little bit. And that all black, they was out there hitting early. I'm like, woo. Texas Tech came out early. They was hitting. We came out early. We was hitting. But it was who can outlast who. And our defense was just a little bit better than theirs. Our defense made bigger plays. Our defense created more turnovers. Now, did we mess up on offense and allow opportunity for their defense to get turnovers? Sure we did. We had a couple fumbles and snaps through the legs, and Dante Moore had a fumble on the handoff. So we were in position to get in the ball back, but for whatever reason, the football guys, we got the ball back and they didn't. And I'm going to go to one reason that they didn't get the ball back is because of the play of our young freshman cornerback, Brandon Fanning Jr. That boy was balling. He had 2 picks and a fumble recovery. And sometimes you just get games like that, man. You're on the biggest stage, man. He showed up and showed out. When the play presents itself, make the play. And he did. He had a pick early and sat on the out route and took advantage of it. He didn't drop the ball. He didn't grab the receiver for holding. He just made the play. Had a fumble recovery. Right place, right time. Opportunistic. And then later in the game, had a pick in the red zone, right? Team going in to score, whether it was a field goal or 3 points or 6 points, you take that away. Big Play Fannin, man. Big Play Fannin Jr. Shout out to him, the game of his career, but it won't be the game of his overall career because that boy gonna be balling for a long time. He's only a freshman. And then my dog Mateo, Big Concrete, Wigalele with the play of the game. Strip, sack, recovery, run back. Hey, changed the whole momentum of the game. That play really turned it up for us and put us over the top and helped our offense to get momentum and start scoring, man. But, man, when you look at it, we started to run the ball a little better after that. And, we just got more comfortable. Now, you look at this game, Oregon versus Indiana, part 2. Dos. It's not at Oregon. It's at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm looking for another barn burner. It's going to be a tight game. We're going to need big plays from all our guys, man. We're going to need big plays from all our guys. Last game, Elijah Surratt, he was the man for them, man. Every contested ball, he was catching. Man. He did his thing last year. And I told you about Mendoza, man. Mendoza's the most accurate quarterback in college football. He's the most accurate quarterback in football. He's probably going to be the number 1 overall draft pick, Heisman winner. We got to get to him. And I talked about Miami's tandem on the pass rush tandem. We got a tandem of our own. And one of them is Tatum, Tuioti. And I just mentioned Mateo. Them two are our playmakers, our ends. They make this thing go for us on defense. Without them two getting to the quarterback and getting that pass rush, I ain't going to say we average, but we don't get much done. But our guys inside, this is going to be big against Indiana because Indiana, they like to run the ball, especially up the middle. Bear Alexander and Amari Washington got to step up. They are our ballers on the inside. They've been playing good ball. But this game, they got to shut all that shit down. They got to shut it down because that's where it starts with Indiana. We make second and third down long for Indiana. It's going to be a long day for them boys. And then we come through with the back end, man, with the rest of the secondary, along with Fannin Jr., man. Aaron Flowers, strong safety, 2-1. You was a younger player. Both Fannin was younger in that game, too. Y'all was young in that game. You guys had a long season to develop, and you guys are making a lot more plays as game by game, and you're getting more comfortable. I expect you guys to play like veterans, man. Y'all been playing very well throughout these playoffs, man. Aaron Flowers, he got a lot of ability. He's a freshman. He's out there hitting. He's making plays in the pass. Just got to be disciplined. Keep your eyes steady. And go out there and do what you do, man. I think you're going to be a very good player in the future for us. And along with Fannin, man, y'all going to be that 1-2. Every team needs a safety corner tandem. And y'all going to be that. And Kennedy, number 22, the nickel, like Miami, man. You notice this all this the same. Miami's nickel, right? We mentioned was Scott, right? Keontae Scott. Kennedy is that, right? Play a linebacker / nickel role. You blitz a lot. Got to play the run. You got to be all that. And that's becoming that nickel position in college football is becoming like the wild card. It's like the joker position in college football. Back in the day, it used to be a rover when we was playing more of a 4-3 style. Now they running that 4-2-5. But it's that rover position. I played it. Pat Chung played it. Eric, a lot of those guys that for being in that safety position played that rover spot. But you guys got to step up. And then Dylan Thineman, number 31, he's been playing well. He's been coming in from Purdue, being a leader of that secondary, making big plays around the line of scrimmage and on the back end. And he's been closing games out, man. I love the way he plays. He's a constant professional, and you can tell that he brings that calmness, that calm storm to the Oregon secondary, right? And Ife Ibigdegwu, I'm not going to lie, you had a rough one against Indiana last game, but you've been playing a lot better ball too. And I expect you to get your lick back against Surratt, right? He pushed off a couple times on that back shoulder. I expect you to get your lick back. I don't think he can throw over the top of you, so play that little back shoulder a little bit more heavy. You feel me? Lean into that and play with your hands and play, through the receiver. Play through the receiver, and you're going to have a great game. And I say we win this game. We get our lick back, and we go to the Natty. We beat Indiana this time. Send the Heisman Trophy winner home. Coach Kurt, you've done a great job, but it's Dan's time. It's Dan's time. We get to the natty, and it's going to be Oregon versus Miami in that natty. I got the Oregon Ducks in this game. 24-21. You heard it right. You heard it here first. TJ Ward, Safety First Show. Oregon Ducks 24, Indiana Hoosiers 21. Do you agree with Coach Dan Lanning's suggestion of moving the college football season up? I do, completely. I think the college football schedule is a debauchery. You got coaches leaving, you got guys transferring when they should be enjoying the fruits of their labor and celebrating some of these wins that they put in major work at the beginning of the season with their teams. But instead, they have to worry about their future and get out of there and get to their next homes ASAP before they lose the opportunity. I don't think this is fair on college football teams, and I don't feel this is fair on college football players. Now, prime example, and there's been many examples, but I'm going to go to the closest one, is with Lane Kiffin leaving his playoff team, Ole Miss, to go to LSU. That's not fair to the Ole Miss football team, and it's really not fair to Lane Kiffin. Even though he is taking more money and getting, you would say, a better opportunity at a more prestigious football school in LSU, but he has to leave the players that he spent all summer grooming and coaching and priming to be in the position they are in now. To what? Chase greener pastures. That's not fair to him, and it's definitely not fair to his team, who are doing well and are now in the semifinals of the college football playoffs. Do you would think that Lane Kiffin would love the opportunity to coach those guys, and those guys would love to go in there with the head coach that recruited and brought them into that school? But instead, because of the college football schedule, they have to play with the offensive coordinator instead of the head man. They do not have their general, and now their general has to watch them play from afar. It's not fair. Now, the players that have to enter the portal and leave the team that they are in the playoff, or leave the teams that they've made the playoffs with. Prime example, University of Oregon has 12 players transferring right now, not after the season, right now. So those players worked all season long and do not get to experience these college football playoff games. And that's what you work so hard for, man. When we went to the Rose Bowl in my senior year, that was the best college playing experience I've ever had. The pageantry of the Rose Bowl, being in that prestigious game, being one of the first teams in almost 40 years, the Oregon Ducks team, to make it to the Rose Bowl, that was an amazing experience. I couldn't imagine having to get that far and then right before the game having to transfer out and go to another school because, I'm looking for more opportunity to play and I had to leave right away. That is a travesty. So college football, you guys got to fix this. You got to allow these players to stay and enjoy what they've worked so hard for, and you have to allow the coaches to be able to stay and coach the players that they brought in, recruited, and trained up all offseason. Now that the end of the football season is here and the playoffs are beginning, you see the good teams are getting primed for the wild card game this week, or they have a first round bye like my Denver Broncos. But the bad teams are getting rid of the coaches. And not only the coaches, but the GM. The Falcons have fired their GM, Terry Fontenot, and their head coach, Raheem Morris. Now, the Falcons were 8-9 after bringing Kirk Cousins in the back end of the season and starting the young rookie Penix Jr. There was a whole mess to begin with. You know why? Because they just gave Kirk Cousins, you like that, the bag. And then you draft a quarterback first round, a franchise-changing quarterback, or supposedly, but he did not play too well at the beginning of the season. Matter of fact, he was running for his life. The timing was off. He couldn't find his receivers, and it wasn't looking good for that Atlanta Falcons offense. But this is what should have happened in that case. Now, if you guys remember back during the draft when the Atlanta Falcons drafted Penix and Arthur Blank was in that in that room with that GM, like, What the hell are you doing? We just gave this quarterback $100 million and you draft a quarterback in the first round with our number one pick. Are you crazy? He should have fired him on the spot. I would have fired his ass right on the spot. What are you doing? You messing with my money. What did Big Worm say to Smokey? You playing with my emotions, but most importantly, you playing with my money. And Arthur Blank obviously don't play about his money. Now, they were close to winning the division because that division is the worst division in football. I don't think anybody from that division deserved to even make the playoffs. They all were 8-9. They beat up on each other. It was bad football watching the whole division play. But at the end of the day, one team in one division and going to the playoffs with the same record, and the other team, head coach is getting fired, GM getting fired, everybody got to go. That's crazy. So, Raheem Morris is out. I don't think Raheem Morris deserved to get his job taken, but I do think that GM deserved to get his job taken because that was probably one of the dumbest plays I've ever seen. If I was a GM, if I was owner, like I said, I would have fired him right on the spot. But Raheem Morris, once that quarterback, and I don't even think it was Raheem's decision to start Penix. I think Raheem know that Penix needed to sit behind Kirk Cousins for a year and learn the ropes. I hate this space that we're in with these quarterbacks and these teams and general managers thinking that these young quarterbacks are going to come in and change how everything goes within this organization and these franchise, man. They are rookies on the job. That's like bringing up an intern to your corporation and thinking with no experience, they're just going to change everything about your corporation and bring it out the black and into the blue or whatever else the opposite of the black is. But I know it's good. Now, Raheem was in his second year, right? 16-18, which is not a bad, almost 500, but it's not a bad record if you're bringing a team up and you have to change everything from within. You have a quarterback like Kirk Cousins who started cooking towards the end of the year, man. They were looking like one of the best teams in the NFL. I'm going to keep it a buck. With that offense and that running back they got, and then Drake London started getting off and looking like, that first-round draft pick. He even had the tight end, which is, what's the tight end from Florida? Kyle Pitts was balling. Drake London was balling. You had the running back, Bijan Robertson. They were looking like a dangerous and formidable offense. Their defense, which already was good, had another first-round draft pick, Pierce Jr., who was a sack machine and had like the highest sack total since I think bro from the Browns who just broke the sack record. Myles Garrett. Pierce had the most rookie sacks since Myles Garrett, like on fire. They had a lot of potential in that team. Now you're doing it once again, starting all over. Got to bring a new head coach in. And I definitely think Raheem deserved more time. Like, this is somewhat unfair. When you see these situations, right, whether it's Antonio Pierce, Raheem Morris, or other coaches in that mold, they get limited to no time to make adjustments. And a lot of times they coming in with terrible teams. I'm going to keep it a buck. They coming in with terrible teams. Let these guys build. And I don't want to say it's like the ex-player that's not getting the time or what, but they're not getting the time to develop and mold the team into the team that they want to be. But they beat their player favorites most of the time. Like, the players love them, right? They love them. And they're player coaches. So just let these guys get some time to build. You let everybody else get time, whether it's the offensive analysis that's come in and never played a lick of football, or you got the analytics guy or the backup quarterback coach. Yeah, they get all the time in the world. But you get the ex-players, they don't get no time, man. We need to change that around. So some of the coaches that were out, whether you think they deserve to be out or not, Pete Carroll, he definitely had to go. 3-14, almost 80 years old. The Raiders were the worst team in football. They were worse than the Titans. They were the worst team in football, and it was a definite win on your schedule. If you had them on your schedule, it was a walk-in win. You know what I'm saying? Like when you walk a man to first base in baseball, and you hit a homer and it's a walk-off or something like that, definite win, right? Jonathan Gannon. Can you believe this man was allowed to go 15-36 in 3 years? In comparison, Raheem Morris won 16 games in 2 years. Jonathan Gannon, 15 games in 3 seasons, 36 losses. Why did he even get 3 seasons? He shouldn't have got 3 seasons. That's that leeway I'm telling you about. Now, what the hell has Jonathan Gannon done in the NFL ever? He ain't done a damn thing. That's what I'm telling you. But Arizona, they stuck in there with him. We're going to be behind you. And now they firing him after 3 years. That's 5 games a season. That's terrible. That's terrible. You got to go. Kevin Stefanski, he had won a couple Coach of the Years. Whether you thought he deserved to go or not, I thought he deserved to go. And that goes beyond, the debacle that they had with Shedeur Sanders drafting 2 quarterbacks, 2 rookie quarterbacks in the same season, not playing Shedeur, Dylan Gabriel coming in. It was a hot mess, man. You got to go, man. You lost the locker room. Once you lose the locker room, you got to go. And then, we had a couple coaches get fired before the season was even out. My dog, Brian Callahan, and Ryan Daboll. So those are the fines for this season. Now, who do you think should get a head coaching job? Who on this new carousel coming in do you think should get a new coaching job? I think you have to start with what's winning championships, and that's a defensive coordinator. And I like Vance Joseph, my dog, in Denver, top defense in the league, and Brian Flores, top defense in the league in Minnesota, right? And then I'm going to add another name to that, Antonio Pierce. I think he deserves another shot. He was the head man in Oakland for a little bit. I think he deserves another shot, and that's just me. I don't care. I'm player friendly. I think we need more players, more ex-players leading the helm with these football teams. You know why? Because there is no one but an ex-player can understand what a player is going through. Now, I'm not saying you can't be a good coach without, being an NFL player. I'm not saying that at all. Obviously, there's coaches that haven't been NFL players that have done a great job, and there's NFL players that sucked at coaching. But there's some intangible things that correlate with ex-players and current players. Now, you put the right staff around you and put players in the right position, coaches in the right position, and be a great leader of men first and foremost. And bringing all these young gurus in, like I've been saying forever. Oh, he's an offensive guru. He's a quarterback whisperer. Like, it don't matter, man. If you ain't got no players on that roster, you can't win. You can't win. And you see guys come in all the time, being fortunate enough to come in with a loaded roster and get that genius label. You're not a genius, okay? You have a loaded roster. You can win with a loaded roster. You know what you can't win with? You can't win without having players. You have to get the players first. Now, offensively, I like Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy needs another shot, man. He did a great job in Green Bay, did a decent job in Dallas, but Dallas is just one of those situations where you can't really impose with all the things you want to impose on your team because you got Jerry Jones over your shoulder. And that's just what that is. But I think McCarthy is a great leader of men, and he has the experience to lead a great group of men. I like him in the mirror of Andy Reid, right? He's an old school coach with old school principles, and I think a lot of teams right now need that. They need an old school premise to get some of these young cats up and moving because, these days, some of these cats, they don't want to be coached. For whatever reason, they divas. I don't know if it's the generation, Gen Z, or whatever they like to call themselves, but they can't take criticism. They soft in correction and no accountability. So you need an old school coach to come in and be like, hey, this is what it is. You either in or you out. I don't want to hear no lip either. If I hear some lip, you're going to have a slip in your locker, and that's a fine because I ain't taking this shit from you young punks. Now, another coach, I just mentioned Kansas City and Andy Reid, Matt Nagy. I think Matt Nagy does a great job play calling. Now, his players didn't seem to be able to catch the ball this year, But that's not his fault. I think he does a great job mixing the run and pass, giving um, having Pat Mahomes on the move and keeping the offense unbalanced or keeping the defense unbalanced and the defense thinking. That is a recipe for a great offense. You never know what's coming. Don't be predictable. And now, although my dog, I think Clint Kubiak is a great offensive coordinator and is doing some great things up in Seattle, I think he needs a year, maybe two, just being a coordinator. You know why? He's a little young, man. He's my age, which is, he may be younger than me, actually. I think he's a great coach, but I think one more year as a coordinator in developing and learning how to lead men and having a locker room that's going to follow and trust you. And I'm not saying that's not happening in Seattle because they're doing great things, but they do have a great head coach also. You know, McDonald, he's doing a great job with Seattle, and he's a great leader of men from what I see from afar, right? But I think Cool needs one more year, and, you know, he's learning from one of the great coaches, his dad. You know, his dad, Coach Cool, was one of the best coaches I've ever had, and I won a Super Bowl with. So I know it's in their blood and their genes, but I think he just needs one more year at coordinator. Now, some people may bring up Joe Brady in Buffalo, but I don't agree with that right now because everything runs through Josh Allen and Josh Allen being Superman. Now, do they do run the ball well at times? Yes, they do. But at the end of the day, I do not see the creativity in that offense, and I don't really see them scheming up defenses the way that I feel you need to be doing if you want to get a head coaching job. You got to show me more than Josh Allen running all around and making plays. Oh, on that note, also, the Falcons are talking about bringing Matt Ryan in to be president of football. How do you feel about that? Me personally, I love it. I just talked about ex-players in bigger roles, ex-players in coaching roles, ex-players in front office roles. I love it. You know why? Because only a player knows what a player needs. Hey, Matt got to the Super Bowl, right? With the Falcons. They didn't win it. You could say he blew the lead or whatever. You could say not. But he got there. Had a great team around him. As a quarterback, as an all-pro quarterback, as one of the best quarterbacks of his generation, he knows what you need on the field to be successful. And I guarantee he wouldn't draft a first-round quarterback after just paying another quarterback $100 million like Terry Fontenot. Oh, my God, boy. I already talked about that. But nah, I think Matt Ryan coming into the front office role with the Atlanta Falcons will be great for that organization. Their offense is already cooking right now. He could be a great help to Penix. And I don't know what they're going to do with Cousins. I think they should bring him back. And I think they should just let Penix sit a year or trade him. Honestly, I would trade Penix. I would get what I could for Penix right now. I'm going to let Cousins cook. That's just me. I like Kirk Cousins. Some people say he's overpaid. Some people say he doesn't deserve the bags that he's been getting. I say you put a good defense with Kirk Cousins and the weapons that you have around him, and it's going to be fire time. And them Falcons are going to be right back in the Super Bowl like they were with Matt Ryan. Broncos, man. We sold up the number 1 seed this weekend. Chargers came into Mile High. I was in the building in attendance. They wanted to give me a little honor, make me an honoree, celebrated your boy. I did the flag planting to pump the crowd up right before the game started doing the coin toss. Brought my son, Young 3, his first game at Mile High Stadium. Did the pregame thing with the Chargers and the Broncos. Derwin James hooked my son up with a Charger ball. We live out in L.A. I just hope he don't turn into a lifetime Charger fan. He gonna look at that ball forever and be like, I'm a Charger fan. We can't have that, man. We can't have that. We got to have him being a Bronco fan. But it's all good, man. Hey, the Chargers show love. Got to talk to PS2. My son got to rub off on some greatness, man. He talked and got to holler at 2 of the greatest DBs of their generation, and they showed a lot of love. So thank you, fellas, for that, man. Salute to the soldiers out there for sure. But most importantly, or just as important, the Broncos win the number 1 seed. What does that mean for the Broncos? That means they have a smooth path to get to the Super Bowl, just like we did back in 2014, 2015 season. And when you have the number 1 seed, it makes it 10 times easier to stay at home, stay comfortable, get prepared for these playoff games, and get to that Super Bowl. Now, will the Broncos get to the Super Bowl having this number 1 seed? You know what I say? Name me a time we had the number 1 seed and didn't get to the Super Bowl. And there's your answer. Yes, the Broncos will get to the Super Bowl this year, and if they get there, you can win it all. That's all I'm going to say. Bronco country, let's ride. Steelers-Ravens. Oh my God, what a game and what a bad game at the same time. Sometimes I felt like turning it off. Other moments, I couldn't turn my head away. It's like, golly. And that's kind of what that division has been all year. Are the Pittsburgh going to win it? Are the Ravens going to lose it? Does Aaron Rodgers still have a chance to win the division and get to the playoffs? Are the Ravens going to sneak in and take it at the last minute? Blah, blah, blah. Back and forth all season long. And that's exactly what that game was, even down to the last kicks, literally. Now, the Steelers take the lead with less than 2 minutes left in the game. And what happens? To go up 3 points, the kicker misses the extra point. Now they're only down they're only up 2 points. Baltimore, get the ball back. Lamar Jackson goes right down the field. 4th down. He throws it up. Isaiah Likely snatches it right in front of All-Pro Jalen Ramsey. Field goal range. In, I don't know, what is it, the Lakes? Something about the stadium, Pittsburgh, Lake Stadium. They're going to win it and win the division. Easy. Lamar Jackson takes a knee right in the middle of the field, makes it easy for the kicker. It's like an extra point. Just kick the ball straight ahead, dummy. What does he do? He shakes it. Wide right. The kick, he misses it. Wow, what a game. What a way to lose. What a way to win. Now, Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be able to get to these playoffs and get in at his old age. And then once you get in, you have a chance to win. Now, I'm pretty excited to see Pittsburgh in the playoffs because they played pretty well this game, And you can't, a lot of this putting it on the team when kickers miss or make field goals, I don't really see that being the trajectory of that team based on the kicker missing a field goal. They played a pretty great game all game. They're going to have DK back in the playoffs. TJ Watt is back from, his chest injuries. Prayers up to him and make sure he stays healthy. But hey, Gainwell's running the ball. And I say when you get in these playoffs, man, you got to be able to run the ball. And right now, as a whole, even though Baltimore almost won that game, I think Pittsburgh has been more consistent towards the end of the year. And honestly, dare I say it, deserves to be in the playoffs more than Baltimore. Now, I did have Baltimore winning the division, but, this may be Aaron Rodgers' last hurrah. And I have been a fan of Aaron Rodgers. Ever since he came out of Cal and they had him sitting in the green room when he's supposed to go high and they embarrassed my dog and he was sitting there by himself and then he bounced back to have a Hall of Fame career and show everybody that I don't care what happens, man. It's not what happens, it's what you do afterwards. So, hey, shout out to Aaron Rodgers, shout out to Coach Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers, because who knows? If they would have lost that game, you might see Coach Tomlin on the cutting block like we've seen the rest of these coaches. So, hey, I ain't going to say go Steelers, but I'm going to enjoy watching these playoffs. All right, man. I want to send a big congratulations to Myles Garrett for getting the sack record this season, man. Hell of a job. Now, Myles Garrett is probably one of 3 or maybe 4 most talented pass rushers that we've ever seen. And I'm going to go with Lawrence Taylor, 1, my dog Von Miller, none as talented as that guy rushing the passer and just being an outside linebacker, period. Myles Garrett is definitely up there. And then you got the deacon of defense, Reggie White. Those are my top four. Now, you can put your fifth in there, whoever you want. J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt. Those are some guys that really have done this sack thing at the highest record, at the highest rate, at the highest level. Boom, level. Michael Strahan, he has a previous sack record, and I think Michael Strahan was a great player. He's doing great in TV and what he's doing with Fox and all that stuff. But sometimes, man, we got to turn the comments down, right? We can give congratulations without making a moment for ourselves. And I feel like that comment he said about the 17 versus 16 versus 12 games, or what, that was very uncalled for. We didn't need it. We know there's an extra game. But let my dog Myles have his moment. Celebrate him, congratulate him without the slight. And I feel like it was a slight. Do you feel like it was a slight? Talk about it. Leave it in the comments, man. This Safety First show. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friend. Watch it in front of your girlfriend. Watch it in front of your mom and your dad. Hey, your kids. Yeah, it's a whole family. It's a family thing, man. Everybody needs to tune in to Safety First show with TJ Ward. Talk about it. I'm out, man. Stay safe.